and welcome back. Look, my hair is even getting caught up. I'm nervous about our guest, clearly. So welcome back to Fast Lane Lifestyle. I am Alicia Powell.
And I am myself a Powell, the sub-10 king.
Yeah.
And the man that is most nervous here today. The person that is most nervous, that's me.
So today we're here with a special guest, Ramona. And she's really amazing. I met her, I think, sometime in 2019. I'm not really too sure about the dates, but it was when I was pregnant. And she has a business called cosmicwombman. It's really amazing. I mean, I think Saf has had lots of benefits with me knowing her.
Wow. So guys, before we introduce her now, where the first few times that Alicia came to see her, I couldn't remember her name. So I'm just always saying the Pum Pum Lady.
But funny thing, I think one of her Instagram accounts is the Vagina Lady.
Yeah,
and she did some pum pum classes that I joined, and I didn't know your vagina could get tired. But it was tired, and
Even at the gate.
I know he benefited from those classes for
Okay.
sure. So, how are you doing today?
I am good, my darling. How are you?
We're great.
We're doing good. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm good.
No, man, don't be nervous. We're all family here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm here with the Vagina Lady, so
This should just mean that, you're going to be learning about things because, sometimes men can be selfish in sex and stuff.
Yeah, so Ramona, you can introduce yourself.
Okay.
first.
And what you do and let everyone know that's watching for the first time and hearing about you for the first time.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Ramona Riley, aka the Vagina Lady, an owner of cosmicwombman. I spend the majority of my time healing the reproductive system using natural methods, of course. And that could be anything from hormonal to birthing to fertility, anything along there. Men and women, definitely for sure, anything reproductive. But cosmicwombman has also started to step out. So I'm doing like a lot more things with children and healing them, like if they get sick or if they have like asthma or like those types of things. So that's been really beautiful as well, like to see that growth and that change has happened. But yes, cosmicwombman is the one-stop shop for reproductive health.
Yes.
100%.
No, for sure.
Nice.
And as well as I was recently just talking about the pum pum classes. Is that still going on?
Yes.
I haven't
okay.
seen you do that in a while.
Yes. So I actually do those only. I have been doing those only one-on-one.
Okay.
Of lately. But yes, so I have a yoni toning class, and yoni means sacred place, and so usually we would say yoni meaning the vagina, right? So the yoni toning class is a class that you would help to learn to tone your pelvic muscles, your pelvic floor. And of course, in toning the pelvic floor, that means now that the vaginal cavity will also be toned. So that's the benefit, right? So that class is done one-on-one. There are group classes that we can do, but I do mostly one-on-ones right now. There's also the male class, the pelvic strengthening class. And that's a different type of class. It's also about the pelvic floor.
I don't understand that at all.
Coming for a class.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what's going on.
It's definitely for the pelvic floor as well, but it just teaches men how to have more control. It's all about control, right? So the woman should have control of her vagina, right? And know how to do it, how to manipulate it, if she wants to squeeze it, if she wants to ripple it, if she wants to clench it.
How do you ripple it?
Like as you tone the muscles through the vaginal cavity, you will be able to release tension from it in a way to be able to ripple it the same way how you'd be able to maybe squeeze down here and then maybe squeeze up here and then maybe squeeze down here or squeeze here.
And so this is all
cavity.
During while you're
having sex or whatever. And you can use it however you want. You can use it.
I'm going to take a back seat. This one.
You can use it however you want to, though. It doesn't necessarily have to be about sex. Of course, it's great because you can then manipulate the vagina to do what you want to do. He gets more excited. Of course, you're getting more excited as well. So it's a vibe.
Oh, wow.
But you can also use it just for health purposes because you know that you're strengthening your pelvic floor. So you don't have to end up with incontinence and your uterus dropping down and you peeing on yourself all the time as you get older, the more children you have. So, there's that. So that's a benefit.
Right. And then so I want to know about we obviously know as watching as women, people are like, oh, we want to, get into this class. So for men are more like they're not more into things like that. They normally take a back seat.
Yes,
like, I don't need that.
Yes.
What are really the benefits? And we know, men enjoy sex. And again, like I said, they're very, selfish when they're having sex. So so men, how does that teaching them how to control, how does that contribute, and how does that help them? I feel like he needs can we get up?
I'm sweating.
So what I find is my international clients are much more open and free as males to do the pelvic strengthening class. Whereas my Jamaican male clients or followers or friends or whoever are not as open. And I think it's just really because of our society and everything is so, how that is. But usually the benefits at the end of the day is to be able to, for the men, for the pelvic strengthening, is for them to be able to do round 1,
go sleep,
expel, and do round 2. And do how many rounds they want or last, right?
This
is I see the man behind the lens sat up all of a sudden.
No, but one of the main things that men want to do is last longer, okay? Especially if the woman is good, if her, vagina feels good, if she knows what she's doing, if it's the first time, maybe he's really wanted her for a long time, so it's finally happening. Whatever the reason is, you want to be able to perform at your best. And being able to have control of your shaft allows you to be able to do that, right? So, for example, with a class, like one of the classes, for example, depending on your level, because every man is at a different level, okay? I have some men that are at the beginner level and I have some men that are more at the advanced level, okay? So the beginner level, for example, would be him sitting down and I'm saying to him, okay, try and raise, or for example, try to raise your shaft and drop your shaft. And when you drop it, don't just drop it, but just slowly release it, right? And so you raise and you drop and you raise and you drop. That would be like the beginner. Whereas the advanced, I would have then told you to get a wet cloth and get a cloth and wet it, and it becomes your weight, and you put it over your shaft. And now you lift and drop. And you yes, exactly. Or moving from that, you now move from side to side. So it's not just about strengthening those front muscles, but now we want to be able to do the side. Because wouldn't it be amazing for a man to be able to rotate his waist amazingly and rotate his penis as well, just as amazing at the same time?
Yeah, for sure.
Where would toys be going? Nowhere.
Wow.
No, I think that's very informative because, people listening, a lot of men might, I think men don't like to admit things to each other, but they want to know how to better their sex lives, in whatever aspect it is. So I think
I don't think it should be a thing where something is wrong with me, why I'm doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're all trying to better ourselves in whatever way. If it's we're trying to have better skin, our hair, be healthier. So why should that be different when it comes to sex? Why shouldn't sex be able to be something that is great and is a positive thing instead of it being just raunchy and negative,
Of course. And there was a question that I was asking you before the cameras started rolling, before we get into other topics, was I heard from somebody behind the camera that's after 40, I don't know if that was a dig of my husband, but that's not true. That the erectile functioning, starts to decline. Is there anything, if there's anyone watching that's struggling with something like that, maybe not at 40, but how would you be able to help in that aspect? Yeah.
Okay, so there's the early signs of erectile dysfunction, which you wouldn't necessarily think you have a problem, but ever so often you realize that he doesn't work as well, or he's not as hard as he once was, right? And then you have erectile dysfunction now where it's really just not working at all the way it should be in any shape, way, form, or fashion. What I usually recommend definitely is for the man to do a detox. Cleansing is very important, right? It allows whatever good things we're going to put in our body for our body to actually absorb it, right? Versus not, because our body is full of toxins. It will never absorb those good things. We'll just end up peeing it out, right? So detoxing is important. There is a capsule that I make called Stamina XL. Okay. And Stamina XL is one capsule and it is sold one.
You look very
Right?
By the way, guys, man board is behind the camera.
And this one capsule you take, it lasts average about 72 hours average. It is not a capsule that once you take it, your shaft is hard and you just walk around with a
It's
hard
Viagra.
shaft.
That's not like Viagra,
It's
man.
not like that. But once it is time for you to get in the mood, say for example, you were to take it now and nothing doesn't happen until 5 hours from now. When that 5 hours from now come and the rub up and the touch up and the kiss up and all of that up, he will then be up and ready.
So what if no rub up no going?
He will not, it will not just stand up like that.
Okay.
No. We do not want that. We don't want any of that at all. No, we want to be able to, we always want to be able to control.
Okay.
We want to control when it is that we have sex. We want to control it when we don't. We want control. We don't want it just to be free like that.
Right.
You know?
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, man, but we'll get back to that part. But I remember when I was having a little stomach problem and stuff, and I came here and you helped me out and all that stuff. Maybe I can talk a little bit. Yeah,
yes.
because I'm sure a lot of men, having
Other health,
probably a stomach,
right.
health issue,
Right.
stomach issue, or maybe some man belly just big and
They
want
need something.
Yeah.
So there are a few different treatments that I do here at Cosmic Woman. And one of those treatments is a detox treatment, right? Detox treatments were mainly the treatments that I had done on you. When it comes down to the gut, the digestive system, that's where everything starts. Okay, that is where everything is. That is like the brain of the body, but not the brain, if that makes
Right.
sense. Right. And so if the gut is off, everything else is going to be off. If a child suffers from autism, it's the gut, right? Everything always comes back down to the gut. So detoxing, I always recommend people to do. Even if you do it once a year, twice a year, something, because of the amount of food, the foods that we're eating, the environmental toxins, all these things that are happening. And then, of course, how our body is, just naturally, what we're prone to, our family history, all these things make a difference, right? So with you, we had done the detox treatment. Everything was done on the abdomen. So I do a lot of things with the belly button, in pulling toxins there. I use a lot of different oils, reflexology, and just help to release the toxins at a fast rate. The detox treatment I do for, yes, if you have stomach issues or something like that, or feeling bloated and that type of thing. But I also use it for my fertility clients, or my clients that have painful periods.
Right.
Because detoxing is where we want to start no matter what your issue is. If you are suffering from menopausal issues, we got to detox you. If you can't get pregnant, we got to detox you. You know what I mean? If your penis isn't getting hard, we got to detox you.
Detox. Yes.
So doing a detox orally is definitely important, but topically is great too. And so that's where the treatments come in.
Right.
So the detox treatment I do, we have a hormonal treatment that I do. I also do things like blocked tubes treatment. So that would be for a woman who has like her fallopian tubes are blocked and she's trying to get pregnant. So we do different things to kind of like release that. And I also do like womb massages and lymphatic drainage. So what I was talking about earlier, like I have like kids that come that are sick, they go to school, they get sick, whatever. I would do like lymphatic drainage on them or detox treatment on them.
Oh, it looks like I need to bring my kids to you because that's all that we've been going through is just sickness. Oh gosh, the amount of antibiotics they've been on.
They need some probiotics, man. Let's talk. We'll talk later
okay,
about
yeah.
it.
So we'll talk. And then I want to ask about because before we got here, we're talking about I'm due for a steam. What are like the benefits of having like a vaginal steam?
Okay.
I just love this episode.
Okay, so steaming is so great. Okay, so number one, women have been steaming from before time, if that makes sense, right? And so this is something now that is coming back, just like a lot of things. I think the world in itself is becoming a lot more holistic or wants to become a lot more grounded or earthy. There's something that's happening, right? And so steaming has come back. for me, steaming has always been a thing because I deal with birthing. I will always steam my moms after our birth. So that was really how I ended up getting introduced to it, until after being certified and as a specialist and understanding that steaming actually helps your periods as well. So most women suffer with a 7-day period or something like that. That's insane, right? My period is 24 hours and that's it. That's
Right.
beginning to end. That's it, right? And every woman can have a short period. It's not because I'm special, right? I used to have an 11-day period. Horrible, painful, was horrible. Supposed to have a hysterectomy because my uterus was so bad. And then I healed myself and now I have a 24-hour period, the most 28-hour period, right?
That's amazing.
So steaming helps to shorten the period. It helps with the clots. It helps with the pain. Steaming is great for before sex. Steaming is fantastic. It creates a wetness. It creates and not a. So there are two ways you can steam. You can steam with herbs. You can steam with oils. When you come into my office, I give you the both, and I give you a mixture for you specifically, right? But if you're buying a steam, you would either get a steam of a packet of herbs steam or a oil steam. I personally prefer the oil, and the only reason why is I just like that oily residue that's left, right? Because when it comes to sex later on or the next day, it's a thing.
Right.
Because there's a difference between wet and oily wet. There's a difference, okay? And oily wet is a vibe, right? So I personally prefer that. But steaming is great for a lot of things. If you suffer from things like hemorrhoids or something like that, I would definitely recommend, if you're steaming, to only steam like 15 minutes at a time or something like that. But for every other woman, I would say 45 minutes to an hour to steam on the last day of your period, even when you're spotting, is great. You're going to see it shorten and shorten, and your brain is going to be blown away. And it feels good, and it smells good, and it's
no, it does feel good afterwards.
Yeah,
like everything just feels
really clean,
fresh, and nice. And I have another thing. I don't think I ever asked you this. Like, what made you get into holistic, like the holistic world? Is that something you always wanted to do, or was it just something you stumbled on? You know, how did life take you on this path?
So it was not something I always wanted to do, no. I think subconsciously I was always drawn to it, but it was never a thing. Education was my thing. Early childhood education was my thing. I enjoyed working with children that had developmental delays, and that was my thing. I got pregnant in 2011, and I had 2 boys already, and I had a miscarriage. And it was very weird for me to have had a miscarriage because I'm like fertile Myrtle, yo. Like, you just blow on me and I'm pregnant, right? Like, I have been pregnant so many times in my life, it's ridiculous. So the fact that I had this miscarriage was quite odd. So I went to the doctor and I'm just like, okay, guys, what's going on? They did the ultrasound and they told me that I had actually a condition in my uterus called adenomyosis. And this condition like reaps havoc on your uterus, and your uterus will never be the same. And even if you get pregnant again, you'll always have a miscarriage, and we have to have a hysterectomy, and we're going to schedule it. And I was 29, by the way, at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, hysterectomy, and there was just so much going on. But I was suffering a lot for years before, up to that point, with my period, with ovulation. Everything was very painful for me when it came to anything like that. And so I would say once I got that diagnosis, I went crazy and I decided, no, there's no way. I got to figure something out. Like, what do you mean a hysterectomy? So I started going on like this little health thing, and I looked into foods, and so I went into this world, right? And then I healed myself. 3 months later, I was pregnant again, and I didn't get excited because they were just like, listen, if you get pregnant, you're going to have a miscarriage anyway. And I went to the OBGYN and they did an ultrasound, and they could not find adenomyosis anywhere. They just saw this baby jumping all over the place. And they were like, we don't see it. There's no evidence of it. And so I started then to embrace the pregnancy and realize that I want this pregnancy to be completely different than any other pregnancy I've had. I went to the hospital with my boys, and I was like, this is going to be different. So I did birthing, home birth. Well, I didn't really do a home birth. I had her in the SUV on the way to the birthing center. So I delivered her myself in the car, in the back seat while my husband was driving. And just the whole thing was just really beautiful.
Wow.
Right. And then, of course, my husband thought I was sleeping the
That's
whole time I was giving birth to her. Right.
So you didn't make any noise?
I didn't make any noise or anything. I was just lying in the back, just breathing, just inhaling and exhaling, breathing.
Not
My
even
water
like
broke. Nothing like that. When I
Wow.
was walking down the stairs to go into the car was painful for me.
Okay.
I was using hypnobirthing throughout, but when I was walking down the stairs, there was no way I could use hypnobirthing because you're fully
Right.
conscious, you're fully walking. And so I felt everything at that point. But once I climbed up in that Suburban in the back seat and lied down, I was literally like zoned, zened
Wow.
out. So of course I birthed her. I still had on my pants. This was like 27 degrees in South Carolina, right? Because she's born in November, so it's cold.
Right.
And I had her in my pants in my hypnotic state, then took her out of my pants, put her on the breast. My midwife runs around to the Suburban, opens the car because, of course, she doesn't know that I've delivered the baby yet. They have the wheelchair out. My doula is there. I was supposed to have a water birth. So the warm water is there waiting on me to go in. Yeah, that didn't happen. So, of course, my midwife came in. She saw me and she's like, she's here. She's on your breast. Everybody's okay. Oh my God, you're super mother. Like, what's going on?
No,
like,
honestly.
Like, what is really happening here? And
the movie.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
insane. So I stayed
The
connected to
movie.
the umbilical cord for a while because I really wanted a lotus birth. But because of the temperature outside and all of that, they really recommended, they don't think it's worth it. They want to get baby inside, covered up, everything like that. So we ended up cutting it. But it was a really great experience. So that in itself birthed this whole new thing in me, right? So when I started my business, I actually started it and it was called Cosmic Births because births is where I started because birthing was just everything to me at that point. And then through that, because of my reproductive issues and meeting now women who had reproductive issues, who are pregnant now, they had a fibroid, they still have a fibroid while they're pregnant. And then I started helping them. And so that's how it happened. And
That's
here we are 9 years
amazing.
later.
Amazing.
Wow.
The fact that you even said you went through labor and just no
I know a lot of
screaming,
women
no
would want to go
tension,
through
like,
that right now.
no, that's because even with me, as much as like I wasn't really like freaking out, like,
Right.
the whole drama and all of that, because obviously, labor is very painful. I still had to like grunt, to push and especially my Azaf with him, it was even harder than Amik. So I mean, you are definitely Superwoman. For
movie,
sure.
The movie, man. The movie.
I mean, I think it's the reality of the situation is that when we learn to really tap into our bodies and listen to our bodies, because our bodies talk to us. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when we get a certain type of diagnosis from a doctor, are we really surprised? Because our body has
Right.
been telling us certain things. If it's headaches, if it's backache, if your eye, if it's something. And so when it came down to the birthing aspect, I mean, I really just let go. Like I think that was probably one of the times in my life that I really just let go. And that's what happened. And then, so it was beautiful. It was good. And she's here now and she hasn't stopped moving since. She does not stop moving. She was born moving.
And
she's
that's
still
it.
moving.
So that technique, you teach people that technique?
Yes. So that's something that I definitely do.
Where
People
never learned
don't
it.
see.
No,
we
I
did
mean
a thing
with Amik. That's why I think
Yeah, it
Amik
was
was just
easier for
really
her.
like 3 pushes just out, and Azaf that I was like I should have really came to. So much was happening, but I really should have because that after that was like I want no more kids after that experience.
Traumatized. That's a wrap. You've done enough for society. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, I feel I've done enough for society. So
Of course you have, and you look great at that.
Thank you,
But
thank you.
before we leave, I wanted to talk to you because we did an episode where I talked about postpartum depression. That I went through that after I had Amik. So is there anything you could talk to women about that ways to prevent it, or is there like certain vitamins, or if they come and see you, is there certain aspects you can kind of do to help them cope, day to day? Because even I'm sure it takes a strain on like your relationship if
everything.
the man is not understanding and then you can't connect to your child because just everything just feels so dark and heavy. And I got a lot of like responses even till this day. A lot of women are asking like, where do I go, what to do, things like that. So I would love for us to touch on that topic before we end this.
Yeah, man, for sure. So yes, you know that postpartum depression is something that's very real, and depression in itself is such a real thing. But society doesn't really take it on the way they should, much less postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
That is even something that's more ignored. But v- usually it is vitamin deficiencies and mineral deficiencies that make you more susceptible to that. Don't get me wrong, it can be the birth, right? So maybe the birth was traumatic. Maybe you planned to breastfeed, the milk didn't come in. Now you're depressed because the milk didn't come in. You don't feel like a good mother, and everything just spirals after that, right? So it can be that type of situation. But for the majority of the time, usually it is because of their deficiencies, right? There's not enough vitamin B12, there's not enough vitamin D3, there's not enough iron in the body. And remember, this is the time when baby has gotten everything. You're depleted, you've done everything, you've lost all this blood, so much is going on, right? And we don't usually find out about postpartum depression until after mom doesn't even see doctor anymore, because we don't realize we have postpartum depression until you're like 8 weeks postpartum. You're not seeing the doctor again until a whole year from now.
Yeah.
So who really do you talk to, right? So postpartum, we got to talk. We got to talk. You know your friend had a baby, reach out to her. You know your sister had a baby, reach out to them. Even if you think it's annoying, send them a text, hey, thinking about you, because it can be anything. I know a lady, I shouldn't say I know, I heard of a lady. She ended up killing herself and one of her children because she was just so depressed, and it was all about the breast milk and breastfeeding. And she just felt like this horrible person that couldn't breast. What kind of mother is she? And we can't afford to have that. These babies need their moms, right? So therapy is also a thing. I do a lot of postpartum therapy with my clients. I would say between that and couples therapy, I do a lot of, especially when it comes to that whole sex and fertility aspect, because that also puts a toll on the relationship, right? But when it comes to postpartum, if we can keep our minerals and vitamins up, and definitely sunlight, definitely be talking, expressing yourself, writing if you have to, script if you don't really have anyone to speak to, making these different connections, really, really important. Join a mommy group. These things, it seems cliche, it seems retarded, but it really helps when you realize you're not the only person, you're not the only one that feels this way. It gives you a little support, and support is what we need right now.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand until you're around somebody, who just give birth. Because if it was for Alicia, I would know that.
Yeah, he probably just thought I was going crazy.
Right. Just say, oh, she was miserable and she going
exactly,
mad.
And that was like his thing. No, you're just miserable.
And that can lead to some breakup too.
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of people,
relationships can't stand to that. So it's something we need to talk about
more
and be aware
more of, because I think some women didn't even know they have it until even now that they're still going through it. Like, oh, because you spoke about it, I realized that's what I have. So
or they have a second baby or a third baby on top of this depression, which never went away from that first child when they had the depression. So it just leads into everything. And then how can you be the best version of yourself?
Exactly.
It's so hard already as a mother to be a mother and keep your identity. Then you need to do that when you're depressed as well.
Yeah,
like,
you just
how does
feel
that work?
You
and
feel
be
lost.
A wife,
yeah,
or a girlfriend, or a whatever. No, it's a lot. And have a job, and it's a lot. And it's no different from the man too. The men have a lot of responsibility as well. You know what I mean? When it comes to that role, as a father, as the husband. But with the woman, we just won't talk about these things enough. And we need to. We're emotional creatures. We're sensitive. We need to express, release, and keep it moving.
Right.
And then we're gonna be amazing.
No, for sure.
And then the men won't even have an issue with us. They won't think I'm miserable. They won't think we're miserable anymore.
I would love to see that.
My girl's cool, man. My woman, nice, man. She don't make nothing but her.
Yeah.
They would love to see that.
They would love to see that.
Oh, gosh.
Love it. It's possible.
I don't know if that will happen until the kids get bigger.
So he's trying to say out. You start trying to say I'm miserable.
Huh?
You're trying to say I'm miserable.
I didn't say that.
It's all right.
I didn't say such thing.
It's all right. I'll take it.
But I mean, I'll stick through it through the whole pregnancy, two pregnancies.
Yeah, no, because
always he was very supportive.
Yeah, that's great.
No, he definitely was. Because even when I felt like I was just losing my screws and just not understanding what I was going through. Because even when you talked about rolling over into having a new baby, I probably feel like a little bit of it rolled over into when I had Azaf as well. So probably added to the fact that I didn't have a good experience in that pregnancy. And like the minute I got pregnant by 6 months, it was kind of like, oh, I'm so over this now. Get this baby out. Like I really didn't enjoy any parts
Of
of
it.
that pregnancy. So right now it's like a light bulb went off and I'm like, I think it definitely rolled over into it. And that's why my whole birthing experience was so traumatic. And, so even like having these conversations, like having these safe spaces to be able to talk and relate to one another, a light bulb will go off. So it's like, okay, this is the reason why that was so just not good at all for me. So,
Right. And
yeah.
then the healing can start, because the healing can't start unless you acknowledge
Right.
that there is an issue or there is a problem. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
So that is definitely what we want to do. We want to acknowledge that's
Yeah.
where it's at. And even support groups, it's actually been something I've been thinking about, but like I'm just so busy. But trying to find a support group in your area, for postpartum moms or for, moms or whatever would be great too. Like,
Right.
it's always good to reach out and it's okay to ask for help. That's something that they don't tell us either.
I believe it kind of tough for us here in Jamaica, I think, because we're not sensitive to a lot of things here in Jamaica. And like I said before, and Alicia, had our kids together. Like I probably would have laughed if I hear somebody talk about it. So it's just to really find, like I said, find that group, but where do you find it? Where do you find? Yeah, where do you go and find that
Yeah,
group?
especially in Jamaica, it's a lot harder.
Can you hear somebody probably hang themselves or kill themselves? Like the first thing I say, why would I do that to himself? Because we don't really understand. We're not taught, about mental health and all that stuff,
and what that looks like and what we should look out for, and just the check-in. You see, these check-ins are really important too. Just checking in on a friend, just checking in on, whoever. Sometimes that's all you need, and also, especially when it comes to postpartum, when the mom is a natural giver, like when that woman is a natural giver and doer and pleaser, that postpartum depression thing can kick her a different kind of way as well. Because she's used to pleasing, she's used to making everyone happy. She in herself is so unhappy right now because things aren't going right. She can't do what she wants to do. So she feels like she's failing because she's not pleasing anyone.
Yeah.
So
I
so
was
there's
that person.
aspect, yeah.
I was she. Yeah. No, and it's just a dark cloud. I was just so angry at everything, like, just unhappy at everything. The slightest thing is just,
yeah, man, and I just walk out a little bit.
He just love you.
Yeah, I just walk out and say, all right.
But I also think like having these conversations with your spouse as well, like, because he was just saying, in Jamaica, it's just not something that's really understood. So talking more about that, even with your spouse, even if they don't understand it now, maybe just them noticing your patterns and stuff. Because obviously, you know who your woman is, or you know who your friend is. If you start to notice like they're, shifting at right, then you know that all right, something is not really right. So pay attention to what they're saying, because their words will certainly match their actions.
Right. So we have to be aware. We have to watch.
Yeah.
Especially during that time.
It's real. It's a hard battle.
It is.
But
it is.
Thank you so much.
We could have anything I want to ask?
You want some of the pill?
You want a stamina XL pill?
Yeah.
Not a problem. No rush. Because if you take it now, it's all over, You're going to be like... You're going to want it all the time.
No, it's more about 40, It's more about getting to 40.
Listen, 40 is the new 20.
Exactly.
What is wrong with these people? I just turned 40.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah, I turned 40
Wow.
last year.
Look how we look good.
Yeah, you guys look good.
Good looking
Please.
fancy.
Look good.
Nice. I'm clean now, fresh.
Yeah, man. But, thanks for, sitting down with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Like, these conversations, need to be had. We... Like I said, we as Jamaicans, we kind of sit back. We don't like to talk about stuff like these, and a lot more other things, So other things, us Jamaicans are not ready for yet, but we have to get there.
Right.
Yeah, we do.
We have to get there.
It's time.
Education is key, and we constantly have to learn to evolve, right? So anybody having any health issues, whatever, you need a detox, a vaginal steam. Also, I know you do the whole birthing as well too. So hit up Cosmic Woman. I will have your name in the bio, description, and everything else.
And
so.
you have stuff for weight loss as well.
Yes, yes. So we do weight loss
Oh.
stuff. Definitely have weight loss. Treatments for weight loss. And of course the detoxes. We have about 4 detoxes and like oral detoxes.
Yeah,
And of
because
course,
you know everybody into fitness now.
everybody's into
Right,
fitness.
health
is
Everybody
wealth.
wants, everybody
So,
wants to get healthy. And you want to feel good. You know, you want to feel light
confident.
and be confident. And you work harder when you feel good. You know, or work smarter when you feel good.
Yes.
So we want to feel good internally. For
no,
sure.
always.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, that
That's
guys.
definitely available. Thank you
Right.
so much for
Yeah, man.
having me.
You're welcome. You're most welcome. And
No, I'm waiting for your don't miss a beat. Don't forget that part.
she want to end it off, guys. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to our platform and listen everywhere. Spotify, where Apple,
Spotify. Spotify.
Spotify. Oops, rewind.
Like on
Spotify.
the on the Vagina Talk. Girl, you really
Yeah. Vagina talk got me. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't miss a beat. Spotify.